Thank you. The chair now recognizes Mr. Rosendale for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good to be here today. Director Stone-Manning, always good to see you. We continue to hear about transparency and the perception of self-interest in this committee in regards to the directors and senior staff. As a known former collaborator with eco-terrorists, it's hard for me and many of my constituents to be confident that your decisions are guided by what is best for this country instead of being guided by what is your political activism and extremism. Two prime examples of this are the most recent rule disregarding 70 years of best range management practices to benefit one lessee in north central Montana, better known as the APR, which you and I have discussed many times over. The other is the new proposed rule that conflicts with the Taylor Grazing Act, which hurts Montana's significant ranching industry and threatens the long-standing relationship between our ranchers and public lands management. In 2008, while you were the regional director for Senator Tester, you received a large loan from one of his major donors at a below-market rate that you had previously undisclosed until you were up for Senate confirmation for your current post. We had a lot of information brought out during that hearing that we had never heard before. Just 2 years prior to receiving that loan, while you were executive director of the Clark Fork Coalition, you made what you yourself described as an unprecedented act of supporting this donor's development project in Missoula. This, combined with your past history of collaboration with eco-terrorism, further gives the perception that you do not have the best interests of the American people in mind and instead will prioritize your own personal beliefs and friendships over those of the American people and this country. The new rule proposed by the BLM is in direct conflict with the Taylor Grazing Act, and the people that are going to be impacted by it the most are being severely deterred from participating and testifying because of the selected hearing locations being so far away from the areas that it's going to impact. Will you accommodate the request from this committee, several of the members individually, and the committee as a whole to change or add locations to hold hearings in the actual communities that are being impacted by this proposed rule?
Congressman, last evening we had our first public lands rule meeting. It was virtual. Over 300 people came. It lasted until 9 o'clock in the night, Eastern time.
I'm not concerned about the previous meetings for this proposed rule. What I'm asking you is that the locations that you have proposed to hold the hearings for this rule are in locations that are in urban areas that are far removed from the people that are going to be impacted. You just heard Representative Fulcher request. I have requested, and this committee's letter will probably hit your desks tomorrow, that says, will you add additional locations or change the locations so that the people that are going to be impacted, such as Fergus County, Montana, in Lewistown, would be added on to your hearing locations?
Congressman, I look forward to that letter, and we'll consider it.
Will you commit to this body that you will hold the hearings in the communities that are going to be impacted?
I'm going to take that request back to the team and consider it.
In your testimony, you mentioned how your agency manages 700 million acres of mineral estate, yet Biden administration has just canceled and withdrawn some leasing from some of the most mineral-rich land in the country. Do you believe that this withdrawal was proper?
I'm sorry, do I believe this withdrawal?
Withdrawal from leasing was proper?
I do, Congressman.
And why is that?
We have 700 million acres of subsurface minerals, and there are the right places to mine in this country, and there are some places that are just too special, and the watershed above the boundary waters is one of those places.
So that's not the only place, is my understanding.
Mr. Rosendale, would you yield to me?
I will, Mr. Chair.
Director Stone-Manning, you just said the boundary waters is